Hello everyone and welcome to the Character Forge, where I take characters from various media and turn them into a D&D build. I use point-buy, optional class features, customize origin, and fixed hit points for simplicity's sake, though sometimes I'll add in some homebrew and variants to make things work just a little bit better. If you have any ideas for another build, please don't hesitate to throw them into the comments below. If you'd like to directly vote on these videos or commission a specific character, stop by my Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month to vote. Or like $2 and some change to be a YouTube member because their minimums are much higher for some reason. Today we'll be working on the king of anime jumpings, Kento Nanami. Goals for Nanami are pretty simple. First, we want the ability to mark a single creature in as many ways as possible to augment damage against them when you attack. Second, we want to have methods of combat that pair excellently with a frontline partner so that when they try to move or attack your allies, you can punish them heavily for it. Finally, we need to be built like a house, capable of taking some intense damage with great stamina to keep going and going until we just get depressed watching you keep going and going. If we can take some solid skills to be a model investigator and curse hunter, even better. Great final touch. Now, for our base ability scores, we're going with 15 Strength, 9 Dexterity, 14 Constitution, 10 Intelligence, 13 Wisdom, and 11 Charisma. You're physically gifted, durable, with above-average intelligence, solid people skills, and good self-control with a little cherry on top of observational abilities. Now, don't worry about all the uneven numbers. We'll fix that with race. We're going human. No, not variant human, or mark human, or half human, whatever. Human. Vanilla ice cream. This gives us a language and a +1 to all ability scores, so suddenly we have a 16 Strength, 10 Dexterity, 15 Constitution, 11 Intelligence, 14 Wisdom, and 12 Charisma. Big difference, yeah? Now for your background, you were born into a family that hold an innate connection to spirits of nature and energy around you. Warlocks and druids that held a strong family line, and you assuredly had the talent for it, but constantly sleeping in ditches, fighting monsters for a living while worrying over the balance of nature wasn't the best line of work. Combine that with watching many of your early allies fall to those very monsters while the upper organizations your family worked for brush it off as normal, and, well, it's not difficult to see why you'd turn your back on your heritage. Instead, you use those connections you made by helping people to take up marketing, trade goods, learning how people work, and sadly, finding their weakness to abuse for your new superiors. A life that, in many ways, was no different in its atrocities than your last profession. But at least in that one, you were sincerely helping those who needed you. Returning to that fold is a decision you may regret, but not something you'll likely ever view as a mistake. With all that, we'll be taking Failed Merchant as a background, giving us a contact network via supply chain, a useful tool, and a language. You also gain Investigation and Persuasion to round out some of your social and investigative skills. Now for class, you were well trained in your youth as a warrior, but you've gotten rusty, and your control over your old abilities is lacking. So for now, representing the plethora of skills you were trained in early on as a monster hunter, we're taking Fighter. This will provide us with our foundational training and a representation of how to fight monsters far more dangerous than yourself, intelligently. Not just charging in with brute power, you're a professional after all. You're proficient in numerous items we don't care about except for a short sword and plate, which is obviously a suit, as well as strength and constitution saving throws and 2 skills. Take perception and insight to show off your physical training, as well as your keen observational abilities while on the job. For your fighting style, take defense. After all, you fight in a well-made suit anyway. That's obviously plate when you don't have anime juice to help protect you. And besides, it's just as stiff to try and move around in. Second Wind will help us shrug off debilitating damage that should have put us down, especially if you get a short rest in between, say, losing your eye, losing your face, normal stuff. Second level, we'll hop on over to Rogue. You get proficiency in Thieves' Tools and Athletics because you are quietly ripped out of your mind under that suit, and also get expertise in 2 skills. Take Persuasion and Perception. You have a keen eye and a reassuring demeanor when you need to be in order to calm normal people suffering loss and pain. Finally, Sneak Attack will measure the first layer of your curse technique. You're not great at executing it just yet, you need to do it in situations you already have the advantage, but you'll get there. 3rd level, we're switching yet again. I know, hear me out though. We're going Ranger. Before you work on your foundations that are so important, you need to at least properly control your technique after all. You get more proficiencies that don't matter. You also get proficiency in survival though, to track monsters properly. You also get Deft Explorer for 2 more languages and expertise. Take insight or survival depending on which side of a monster hunt you want to focus on. People or physical tracking. Favorite Foe will let you mark an enemy of your choice when you hit them for added damage, now having the first stage of your technique. 4th level will be at 2nd level Fighter. We get Action Surge for a burst of anime power at the right moment to shred through a particularly nasty curse. 5th level, we're finally getting a subclass. Multiclassing, man, yeesh. Take Cavalier. Yes, you heard me correctly. Cavalier may be phrased as if they're horse-riding knights, but in reality, basically all but one of their abilities don't require you to ride anything at all. Just hang in there, you'll see what I mean as we progress. You get a bonus skill. Take Persuasion with this, replacing your background with Intimidation, rounding off your 2 social options nicely for when you need to scare the hell out of a little blonde ponytailed prick. You also get Born to the Saddle, I guess. You probably won't use this. Maybe your GM will give you a Tiger Shikigami or something though, who knows. It makes you really good at riding creatures. More importantly, you get Unwavering Mark, your first step to being the best wingman in a JJK jump. When you hit a creature, mark it. This doesn't add direct damage to your strikes. Instead, when things try to attack anyone else, or deals damage to anyone else, you punish them for it. You give them disadvantage, and then you get an extra attack on them on your turn that deals extra damage and has some more side effects. You can even mark more than one creature like this at a time. Basically, when you were controlling all of Patchface's movements, this was the cornerstone of that moment. 6th level, you're now a 4th level fighter, so you're getting a +2 strength for a new total of 18, simple and smooth. 7th level, we're now at 5th level fighter, and you finally get your extra attack. More damage from your mark, and more charges to mark other creatures in order to control more crowds. 8th level, we're switching back over to a 2nd level ranger. You get the blind fighting style, because that's not a mouthful, to showcase your sensory and combat instincts well beyond most of your peers. Combine this with spellcasting and take absorb elements to even slice cursed energy in half as a defense and detect magic for tracking cursed energy in general. Alternatively, talk to your GM first, but Favored Foe by the books acts as a concentration spell. But I've had many GMs, me included, that are fine with treating it like any other class ability. If they're fine with this, look into Ensnaring Strike, Searing Smite, or Hunter's Mark, as in that case these spells would stack with Favored Foe. Otherwise, I wouldn't bother with any of them or most of the Ranger spell list. 9th level, you're a 3rd level ranger and a monster hunter. You get Primeval Awareness to further sense abnormal curses within the area around you, and Monster Slayer magic. This grants you protection from evil and good, exceptionally useful against cursed spirits and monsters. Your mark has now further improved yet again with Hunter Sense and Slayer's Prey. You hit your mark target even harder and can focus to learn what they're resistant or vulnerable to. Important to learn how to kill them on the fly, targeting their weaknesses. You also get a final spell. If your GM has voted no concentration, see the prior list. If they voted it does require it, Cure Wounds gives you some extra survivability, Alarm or Long Strider enhances your ability for hunts and combat. 10th level, we're doing a brief switch back to 2nd level Rogue, because Cunning Action is excellent support for mid-level melee specialists, and it showcases your superior physical conditioning. 11th level, we're switching back to Fighter for the rest of the build. 6th level fighters get +2 strength, new total of 20. 7th level fighters gain Warding Maneuver, allowing you to guard yourself or an ally nearby to really mess with Patchface that extra step, granting the target bonus AC to avoid a hit, and even if it still hits, you give resistance to the attack instead. Excellent survivability if you're working with another frontliner. 8th level fighter, we get Resilient and Wisdom because you are ridiculously mentally tough, to the point it's really depressing and admirable at the same time. New total of 15 with proficiency in Wisdom saves. Important for concentration, resisting pain, fear effects, and whatever soul nonsense the weirdo with the stitches is doing to you. Ninth level fighter, we get Indomitable to shrug off saves and try to pass them even if you fail. Very useful against important random charisma saves because I'm pretty sure that's the kind of nonsense Stitchface actually pulls on you. JJ, you're a ruthless GM. 10th level Cavaliers get Hold the Line. Do you like the Sentinel feat? Does your GM hate it? Would you like to do what it does, minus ignoring Disengage, something your GM basically never uses against you anyway? Great. That's Hold the Line. Anything tries to run past you, you smack it so hard it forgets how to keep moving. 10th level fighters get another extra attack. Welcome to the 3 to 4 swings per turn depending on your mark life. 12th level fighters get +1 constitution and intelligence. You're built like a brick house of hard work and willpower. Alternatively, see my homebrew for another option if you'd like to differentiate your moveset a bit more. 13th level fighters exist. You get some extra health. 14th level fighters get a final feat. Skill Expert raises our constitution to 16 and gives proficiency in stealth and expertise in investigation. Enjoy. Finally, our 20th level capstone. 15th level Cavalier get Ferocious Charger. Your capstone ability allows you to once per turn charge down someone trying to attack an ally, mark them, hit them, and mark them again. Then also knock them prone so you can proceed to, you guessed it, hit them repeatedly at advantage while they're on the ground, triggering your sneak attack. I grew up in Chicago. This is identical to just jumping someone. This is disgusting. So, how good is the build overall, disgusting jumping aside? And what's the best way to play it? First off, you're incredibly durable, with over 180 health, and you could easily swing more if you are rolling stats and you get half-decent stat spread. A 21 AC with no magic bonuses, and a high wisdom and constitution save. 2 very important saving throws in 5th edition. You're also an absolute monster of a scout, tracker, or face with solid supporting physical skills when necessary. And finally, your combat potential is fantastic. You may not have the raw burst damage output that, say, Yuji is capable of, but you have significant, steady damage between your numerous marks and multiple attacks per round. But, by far, the most infuriating part of your combat style is not your attacks or your damage, it's that every time your enemy tries to take down the big DPS near you, you punish them for it, immensely and repetitively. Try to hit the DPS stun-locking monk, have disadvantage, and you're going to take an extra painful hit for trying. Also, they now have resistance to whatever you tried to hit them with, cause screw you, GM. Now, as far as downsides, +0 save is really, really bad. It's probably the most common save in the game. +1 charisma save is even worse as soon as it comes up. Intelligence, same boat. Now, your health and AC can help counter the dex save a bit because it's just going to pull from your health as per normal with any dex save. As such, if you just play around that and try to mitigate anything else, you should be okay. But nothing can save you from that banishment, or feeble mind backhand from the GM. Basically avoid casters that are going to target your bad saving throws with really nasty spells. Focus on controlling the front line and keeping your enemies frustrated at their lack of damage to key targets until they focus on you. That way your allies can pummel them. If they decide to ignore you, punish them for it with your unwavering mark attack, pseudo-sentinel, and charge. Rinse, repeat. Now, hilariously for Homebrew, I didn't actually have much I needed to do. Nanami has a pretty solid base concept and it transferred over pretty nicely. That said, it does allow me to share a feat that I use in my homebrew games for marshals. This gives them the ability to sacrifice their multiple attacks for one big hit instead, adding some unique versatility to things instead of just raw number go up, haha. It was a favorite on my table for many, many years until I switched over to using my personal system that I use for my world Exardia. Now keep in mind, if you do decide to take this feat, you are effectively trading accuracy for an extra effect. You only have one chance to land, and I've had so many times where people did whiff this, so just keep that in mind. Alright, that's everything, I believe. Thank you all so much for your continued support. The increase in subs is wild, and approaching 10k is a really weird feeling to me. At the moment, I'm closing in on being caught up with these builds, and I can finally unlock my Patreon votes for the next few. I've had several commission videos I owed that I'm slowly getting through. I hope you all enjoyed Nanami. I had a lot of fun with this one. I think I captured him pretty well, in all honesty. It's rare that I'm this proud of a build. There's definitely some weak points and some things that I look back on and like there could be some alterations. Like you could switch the stats a little bit more around so you can maybe grab the tough feat and not have an extra +1 intelligence and all kinds of little things. If there's anything you can think of that you'd do differently, though, let me know. I always enjoy hearing other ideas in the comments, and I try to reply to pretty much all of them. At the moment, I have Sung Jinwoo coming up next, and Yuta from JJK. For my patrons, I'll have a list of the current potential characters coming up soon. I would like to take another moment to just thank all of my patrons for being so loyal over all this time, especially Arima, Disney, SPS, and Varen. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Love yourselves, love each other. See you in the next video.